Hi there. My name is Rab Russell, and it is my great pleasure to give support to the grassroots organization Alpidaca that's being organized in Mexico. It's many, many years that I've been involved in trying to both understand and help the world of chinuch in our world, and to understand children, what is happening to children, and how can we help them uh, develop best, maximize their potential, and at the same time maintain standards, healthy standards, that we can bring them up in a healthy way. Many, many years ago, my Rebbe, Matziel Solomon, Zechzad Livracha, recently passed away. He sent me from Lakewood to Europe, to England, various cities to speak on this subject. We were in America at that time, some years ahead, and he saw clearly that what was happening to us already in America, due to the large numbers of communities of the Frum community in America, what was happening to us was inevitable to happen in Europe. So he sent me in advance to speak to them. And I feel the same obligation now. I wish I was with you in person to speak this out at length, because it's a delicate subject that deserves real attention if the problems that's being faced around the world in all the Orthodox communities around the world, if those problems can be attended to and perhaps to some degree prevented, but also to know how to react when the problems occur. So the details of it is a lecture, that's a workshop. But if I can just highlight a couple of the realities that we see on the ground, the fact that the world, as much as we would like to protect and shelter our children from the world, the secular world, has, if I may say so, gone crazy. The liberal values, the very extreme liberal values being promoted in the world around us, whether we like it or not, those values are affecting our community. Our children are being exposed to those values in ways that we can no longer prevent when they're very young, so we can have some sort of control to shelter our children from being exposed to those values that are the exact opposite of Torah values. As they get older, our ability to shelter them, this is what we've seen historically around the frum world, our ability to shelter and protect them is diminished. And here's where the problem arises. Our deep parental and not just the parents, but the world of chinuch, the teachers and rebbeim, our very, very sincere attempt to shelter our children from the world around us, that in and of itself creates a controlling pressure on children who are naturally curious about the world around them. As they feel more controlled by us, actually, their desire to understand and know that which we're trying to stop them knowing, that desire increases. If we add to that the fact that as our community expands, so there are more and more children who are less able to live up to the ideal standards that our community is trying so hard to imbue in those very children. So comes tension and stress between the parental authority trying to, as best as they can, bring up their children with traditional core values of Torah mitzvahs, the way they were brought up. The school systems trying desperately to keep the control over their students, to keep them focused in the direction they would like them to be focused in. As our communities grow, this challenge becomes harder and harder, as there are more and more children who, for a variety of reasons, no fault of anyone, any parent or any of the school systems, but the reality is no fault to them. The children have within them struggles and issues, problems and difficulties that prevent them being open-minded, available to really absorb the culture and values and teachings that we're so desperately trying to teach them. So both with our attempt to bring them up with our core values, what they experience, the children experience, as our desperate emotional control over them to try and keep them, so to speak, in the fold, to keep them in the community and culture. They experience that control as repressive, as controlling and hurtful to them, and it causes their rebellion. At the same time, our attempt to shelter them from the incredible liberal values of the world around us that would seek to undermine religion, undermine core family values, actually break the family as we know it. We know what the secular values of the world are. So those values creep into our community and undermine the ability of more and more children to be able to absorb and uphold the values we give them. Unless we develop specialized skills and understanding of this, if we rely on threats and control, traditional, external threats and control, as it says in Mishle Yugimel, if we rely on the old traditional values, which still work for so many children, but what we've seen in America and in Europe, around the world, is if we fall back and rely on the traditional methods of trying to keep the kids, the children, within the framework of our communities, our culture, our values, and our religion. And those traditional things include punishments, control, criticism, anger. When we use those things, which have worked for thousands of years, what we've discovered is the children rebel. So what we need today is to understand both the nature of children. We have to understand new ways to reach them without compromising our values. In other words, all kids need structure, they need rules, they need discipline. However, the way we communicate the structure, rules, and discipline has shifted over time. And as we've seen, I'm told that in America, for example, they're 10, 20 years ahead of the sort of cultural impact, for example, in Mexico. But what we've seen all over the world is it's coming your way. You can't prevent it because the world is connected today. And the young children, I'm talking about teenagers, they become aware of what other teenagers around the world in the frum community are experiencing and how they're behaving. It's a very connected world. There's no ghetto today. We're not sheltered as much as we were. And with each year passing, whatever potential sheltering we thought we had is being diminished, is disappearing. So it's urgent that we stand back. We understand what are our core values. We understand that children do need structure, rules, and discipline, but that we question ourselves whether the methodologies we've been using till now are going to work in the future, or at least we know they will work for many of the kids, but they won't work for all the kids. And we have to start shifting to understand other ways and other methods that we can actually connect with the kids and help them so they can absorb our values. And then we have to work out what to do as inevitably some of the children start disappearing from our system, disconnecting from our system. How do we reach them? How do we keep connected to them so that as they mature, as they become older, and they're able to think through their life more clearly, they've not felt rejected, but we've been able to embrace and accept them. So as they mature, they can make better choices and work out a way to re-embrace our system. This is just an overall quick picture of what it is we have to be doing. So we need to maintain our standards, but find different ways to articulate, to explain those standards and uphold those standards so the children are able to embrace them. And at the same time, understand how to reach the kids that have unfortunately fallen through the cracks. How do we reach them, hold on to them so that with time, as they mature, they may re-embrace our core values? These are the challenges ahead of us This is just, so to speak, the chapter headings, the overall vision, but it's the direction we need to take. And I think the Alpidaco has been founded in order to achieve just that. And Rabbi Shur Gertzelin, who's backing it, I know has learned this and understood this, and has done everything he can to understand these new ways to uphold traditional values. You have wonderful people there in Mexico really trying to be helpful. And I give you my bracha that with Hashem's help, you'll be able to make that shift, just as we've seen other communities around the world do it, so that we can uphold our values, we can keep our traditions, and not alienate our children going forward in the future. So Hashem should help you all, and Mitzvah Hashem, I hope one of these days to actually come and visit and have a chance to talk directly with members of the community and see if we can be helpful. Hatzlacha ubracha, and Hashem should really be with you. Thank you.